A man sits quietly in his room. The noise of the world has dimmed with time, and the silence that surrounds him is not peaceful. It's a silence filled with questions he never thought he'd ask himself. What happens to a man's body when desire fades? What's the cost of ignoring the pull of nature in old age? A urologist who has spent decades working with older men says something few want to talk about. He says not masturbating after the age of 60 can lead to real health problems. And this isn't about pleasure. It's about what the body needs, even when we're older, and think that part of us has gone to sleep. We grow up being told that sex is for the young, that older people should grow out of it, that after a certain age, desire becomes something shameful or irrelevant. But the truth is, the body doesn't agree. Even at 70 or 80, the male body still produces testosterone. Not as much as in youth, but enough to stir, enough to need release. When that need is ignored, over time, the consequences show up. Physically, emotionally, even spiritually. The idea that masturbation is just for pleasure is a half-truth. For many older men, it's a form of maintenance, like stretching a muscle, like walking every morning to keep your knees working. It keeps things moving. The urologist explains that the prostate gland, a walnut-sized part of the male body tucked just below the bladder, depends on regular activity. When a man ejaculates, the muscles around the prostate contract. The gland empties out. This process helps clear out old fluids and keeps inflammation at bay. But when ejaculation stops entirely, the prostate begins to retain fluid. That stagnant fluid can cause swelling, irritation. In some cases, it even increases the risk of prostate problems, not overnight, but slowly, quietly, like rust on a hinge. There's more. Erections themselves are not just about sex, they're about blood flow. An erection is a vascular event. It's a sign that the blood vessels are working, that the nerves are firing, that circulation is reaching all parts of the body. When a man stops engaging with his sexuality, even privately, the frequency of erections decreases. This leads to a slow decline in function. The tissues in the penis depend on oxygen, and oxygen is delivered through blood. Without regular erections, even the ones that happen during sleep, these tissues can harden, become less elastic, atrophy. This process doesn't just affect the body, it impacts the mind too. A man who feels no sexual energy often feels less alive. There's a reason monks and sages talk about life force. Sexual energy is tied deeply to our sense of vitality. When it's completely shut down, depression can creep in, a sense of uselessness, of being done with life. One study showed that older men who remained sexually active, even through solo practices like masturbation, reported higher levels of emotional well-being. They slept better, had better moods, even fewer complaints about aches and pains. Some men feel guilt. They've been raised to think that masturbation is wrong, that it's only for the lonely or the morally weak. But science has no interest in those judgments. It only observes what is. And what it finds is this: regular sexual activity, even alone, even at 80, helps keep the body in tune. The urologist says he often sees patients who have given up that part of themselves. They come in with complaints: low energy, trouble sleeping, mild urinary issues. When he asks about their sexual activity, they often say it ended years ago. And he tells them something that surprises them. He tells them to bring it back. Not every man can or should have sex with a partner. Life circumstances are different for everyone. Loss, divorce, illness, these things shape what's possible. But the body still speaks. And to ignore that voice is to invite decline. Some men say it feels strange to touch themselves after 60. They don't recognize the man in the mirror. But aging isn't the end of desire. It's the chance to meet it differently, with patience, with curiosity, with acceptance. One quiet benefit of masturbation that doctors speak about, especially for older men, is sleep. Ejaculation releases a mix of chemicals in the brain: prolactin, dopamine, oxytocin. These help the body relax. They quiet the nervous system. Many older men struggle with falling asleep or staying asleep. The body aches, the mind races. But regular masturbation, particularly before bedtime, has been shown to promote deeper rest. Not in theory, in real lives. Another overlooked truth is how masturbation helps with managing stress. Aging doesn't mean peace. Older adults face anxiety too. Money worries, health fears, loneliness. Masturbation triggers the release of endorphins, the same chemicals released during exercise. These chemicals calm the brain. They ease tension. They bring the body back to a more balanced state. For men who live alone, this release can be an important self-care practice. The urologist doesn't push the idea with force. He invites his patients to consider it, like taking a daily walk, like drinking more water. It's one part of the larger picture of aging well. It's not a cure for all things, but it supports the systems that begin to weaken with time. And most of all, it reconnects a man with his sense of self. Because when we stop treating parts of ourselves as shameful or unneeded, we begin to age with more honesty, more grace. There's another layer to this. In the quiet of old age, when many roles have fallen away, a man begins to meet himself again. Not as a father, not as a worker, but as a human being. Touch can become a form of presence, of meditation, of being with the body instead of fleeing it. When masturbation is approached not with guilt, but with respect, it becomes something else, a ritual, a way to remind the body that it is still good, still capable, still worthy of attention. Men who have lived full lives sometimes struggle to accept that their bodies are changing. Erections are not as strong, the recovery time is longer. But these changes don't mean the end of pleasure. They mean a new relationship with it, a softer one, a slower one. And masturbation can be a way to learn this new language, to keep the flame burning, not with intensity, but with steadiness. The urologist says that men who remain sexually engaged in some form are more likely to take care of other parts of their health. They eat better, move more, socialize more. It's all connected. When a man gives up his sexuality, he often begins to neglect other needs. There's a resignation that creeps in, and it doesn't have to. Aging is not about losing parts of ourselves. It's about integrating them, listening more carefully, living more fully with what remains. Some worry about the moral implications. They've been taught that desire is dangerous, but if the act is private, if it causes no harm, if it brings relief and balance, then is it not wise? Is it not natural? Philosophers have long said that nature does not waste energy, that every impulse serves a purpose. What if the desire to release is not something to fight, but something to understand? The body tells its truth without shame. When the prostate swells, when the nights become restless, when energy dips and sadness lingers. Sometimes the answer is not more pills or more distraction. Sometimes it's about returning to the body's simple needs, even the ones we're told to outgrow. The urologist has seen it many times. A man reclaims this part of himself and slowly other things shift. His posture changes. He speaks with more life. He smiles more. This is not a call to obsession, not a command to perform. It's a gentle reminder. that the body needs what it needs, and ignoring those needs in the name of dignity or age or guilt only brings suffering. There is no shame in maintenance, no guilt in caring for your own health, and if that care involves something as natural as masturbation, then so be it. Let it be done not in secrecy, but in self-respect. There are also medical conditions where masturbation has proven useful. Men who suffer from chronic prostatitis or pelvic pain often find that regular ejaculation reduces flare-ups. It keeps the pelvic floor relaxed. It supports blood flow in a region that often gets ignored in aging. And for men recovering from prostate surgery or managing erectile dysfunction, it becomes a way to test, to rehabilitate, to feel progress. In these ways, it's not about lust, it's about life. The will to engage, the willingness to stay connected to one's own experience. Some call it self-love, others call it hygiene. But whatever the name, the act has value. Value beyond pleasure. Value rooted in health, in dignity, in truth. So if you're a man over 60 or over 70, and you've quietly let go of this part of yourself, consider this. Your body may still be asking for something, not loudly, but steadily. Like a tree still drawing water, like a fire still holding heat beneath the ash. You are not broken, you are not wrong, you are alive, and life has needs. The urologist says his job is not to tell men how to live, but to show them what the body says, to share what the data reveals. And the data says this: masturbation in old age is not shameful, it's helpful. It keeps systems active, it protects against decline, it connects men back to the quiet dignity of being human, of having a body, of still being here, in a world that rushes to silence the older body, that tells you it's time to fade. Let this be a whisper of something different, that you can still listen to yourself, that your body still matters, that your health includes everything, even the parts no one talks about. And in the stillness of the night, when your thoughts turn inward, when you wonder what else there is to hold on to, let this be one small truth, that to touch yourself is to remember, that to release is to renew, that even after 60, even after 70, the body does not forget, and neither should you.